The dragon was wroth with the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of God, and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. Wherefore I will not be negligent to put you always in remembrance of these things, though ye know them, and be established in the present truth.
Testimonies, volume 8, page 305. And again, let me emphasize, don't leave the church. This is not the purpose. The purpose now is for you to get into the Word for yourself. The purpose now is for you to understand. The purpose now is for you to get into the upper room. The purpose now is for you to understand what a Seventh-day Adventist really is. The purpose now is for you to get in a position where God can use you to reach the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Let me tell you something. There's not the least bit of truth in us coming up with some little group and to go off in some woods or somewhere and call ourselves the true church now, because you're not the true church by doing that. God's true church now is to stand in the fence of the faith in the face of adversity. Are you hearing me, brothers and sisters? That's what God's church is now. Are you a real wheat, or are we a coward? I'm going to stand. I'm not going anywhere. Are you hearing me, brothers and sisters? Testimonies, volume 8, page 305. The mastermind in the confederacy of evil is ever working to keep out of sight the words of God and to bring into full view the opinions of men. He means that we should not hear the voice of God saying, "This is the way, walk you in it." Through educational processes, he is doing all in his power to obscure heaven's light. We talked about this in about 2 videos back. We talked about what Ella Pearson said as he was retiring in 1978. We even talked about what Ella Falkenberg said about the professors that no longer believe in the first 11 chapters of the Bible, don't believe in the creation story, don't believe in the 2300-day prophecy. I heard one preacher, a very prominent preacher, says in one particular school there was not one professor in the religion or theology department any longer believed in the 2300-day prophecy, did not believe in the virgin birth, did not believe in the year-to-day principle, did not believe in the sanctuary, did not believe in any of these things. And so if not one professor in the religion or theology department believe it, what about the students that are sitting under him that's getting their theology degrees that's going to come out and pastor churches? What are they going to believe? And so they come out and become pastors in these churches, and they are terrorists by default because that's what they've been taught to be, brothers and sisters. Do you understand what I'm saying? And we then sit there and we listen to them, and because they have the authority of the pulpit, we go along with whatever they give us, brothers and sisters, and it is time out for that. It is time out. Satan went to make war with the remnant of the seed which keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. We don't know truth because we're not studying for ourselves. We're not reading the spirit of prophecy. We're not studying the Bible. And whatever comes down, we go along with it. And then we're told, don't mess with this one or that one. As we baptize these tares into the church, we are not allowed to go with them and share the truth. And so we begin to yield and to yield and to yield and to yield, brothers and sisters. We're in a sad time, and I'm telling you, it's time for you and I to stand for the truth. It's time for you and I to get into the upper room and understand what God would have us to do at this critical time. There's a work to be done inside of God's church right now. And let's stop getting caught up in all these tangents. Every time someone's always running to me with some kind of tangent. Someone comes to me talking about the feast days. We are not obligated to keep any feast days, brothers and sisters. If anybody coming to you telling you got to keep a feast day, walk away from them. Don't even argue with them because you cannot convince them of anything else. Leave them alone. Shake the dust off your feet and move on. The central theme of the Bible today, brothers and sisters, is redemption, restoration, and the power to have victory over the sins in our life. Are you hearing me, saints? Going back to our screen. 7 steps to national apostasy. Let's look at them. They ventured upon forbidden ground because they listened to Balaam, who was, they could regard as a prophet. Music. They were beguiled with music once they went upon. They would have never been beguiled by the music had they not went upon forbidden ground. Dancing, brothers and sisters, was number 3. If they had never heard the music, they wouldn't have been dancing. The beauty of heathen vessels, number 4. Mirth and fun, feasting, and then the indulgence in wine caused them to lose self-control and bow down to idols, brothers and sisters. Saints, if you're sitting in your churches where this is going on, I'm going to tell you something, brothers and sisters, and I'm not telling you to leave the church, but you might have to get up and walk out of there. You might just, saints, I don't know, you might ask God what to do. Because, saints, you cannot sit up on that stuff right there and not be affected. You cannot do it. And I'm going to tell you, that's directly from hell. And again, I want to emphasize that there's not an eighth church. And we to go off and start some little group and call ourselves the end of the church, that is not the plan of God. Because there's a work now to be done on the inside of God's church. There's a people that has to be reached now. The lost sheep of the house of Israel have to be reached with the truth. But I'm going to tell you, saints, Satan has infiltrated. He has made such war upon us, brothers and sisters, that only the God of heaven can direct us as to what and how we are to carry ourselves. So it's a time for you and I to pray like we've never prayed before. It is time for you and I to confess our sins like we've never confessed it before. I'm going to bring this to a close. I'm in so much to share. I still haven't got to where the crux of the matter yet, but I'm going to close with a statement from Great Controversy. And it's found on page 621. Great Controversy. I don't even want to close this session right now, but I have to. And we haven't got into the meat of the word yet. We haven't got into the real meat of the word yet. I'm on, in Great Controversy, page 621. It says, the season of distress and anguish before us will require a faith that can endure weariness, delay, and hunger. A faith that will not faint though severely tried. The period of probation is granted to all to prepare for their time. Jacob prevailed because he was persevering and determined. His victory is an evidence of the power of impotent prayer. That impotent prayer means that's a prayer that will not let go. It holds on no matter what, brothers and sisters. All who will lay hold of God's promises as he did and be as earnest and persevering as he was will succeed as he succeeded. Those who are unwilling to deny self, to agonize before God, to pray long and earnestly for his blessings will not obtain it. Wrestling with God, how few know what it is. How few have ever had their souls drawn out after God with intensity of desire until every power is on the stretch. When waves of despair which no language can express sweep over the supplanter, how few cling with unyielding faith to the promise of God. What do you and I need now, brothers and sisters? We need prayer. We need unswerving prayer. We need victory because you and I are on the banks of the Jordan, brothers and sisters. You and I are just before the close of probation. Time is so critical and there's such a work to be done. First of all, brothers and sisters, there's a work to be done for you and I. You and I need to get our life in harmony with God. Ellen G. White tells us in the early writing 269 to 272, she says, I saw some with strong faith and agonizing cries, pleading with God. She says their countenances were pale, expressive of an internal struggle. She says some I saw did not participate in this agonizing pleading. She says they were careless and indifferent. And she says the angels of God left those who were not struggling with all their might to resist the thick darkness around them. And he went to the aid of the pleading, crying ones. If you read that account in early writing 269 to 272, you will see, brothers and sisters, that they were struggling and agonizing for their victory because eventually she says they obtained the victory. And she says it called forth from them the most sacred, holy joy. And the obtaining of this victory took place just prior to the passing of the son-in-law. And so, brothers and sisters, if we are just before the close of probation, that means we are just before the passing of the national son-in-law. As we see all these things taking place around us, brothers and sisters, it should tell us that we need to get ready.
Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus.
Are we teaching the truth in love? Telling it like it is. Are we holding pure motives, showing that we care? Are we teaching the truth in love?